Boxing Ego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. Now head over to my website, link in the description. I wrote an article about this and I want to make a video about it in case you guys did not know. But again, link in the description. Now, Shakur Stevenson recently teamed up with Andre Ward, Jay Prince as his managerial team, and he signed with Bob Arum's Top Rank. And he had his first fight April 22nd. He's already back in action. As you guys see, Shakur Stevenson joins Terence Crawford at the Garden. Link in the description. And I want to talk about this briefly. Shakur Stevenson, fresh out of the 2016 Olympics, a little bit after that. Mike Connellan of Ireland signed with Top Rank. And then after that, it was announced that Shakur Stevenson was also signing with Top Rank. And that's a good future match that they're possibly building. The guys are kind of going back and forth in terms of interviews. And it's a fight that, it's an in-house fight that they can easily make. Now, in case you didn't know, Terence Crawford is fighting Felix Diaz, another Olympic gold medalist. I give Crawford a lot of credit because he's clearly willing to face any style, right? Felix Diaz, anybody has an Olympic gold medal, you got to be nice, because Shakur Stevenson got a silver medal and he's nice. You know what I'm saying? Amir Khan, Gennady Golovkin, they're all silver medalists and they're good fighters, right? And Terence Crawford is facing another. He fought Gamboa a couple years ago, knocked him out. First to do that. Gamboa was undefeated. You can make up excuses about Crawford rehydrated too much or Gamboa's too small, but he signed a contract and he was winning the fight. Crawford made adjustments, switched to southpaw, and the rest was history. Terence Crawford now fighting another Olympic gold medalist who's played spoiler. He was a last-minute late replacement to Sammy Vasquez when he was undefeated, and he ended up beating him. It looked like he might have been able to stop him. He had Vasquez leaking pretty bad and bloody, and that was at welterweight. So him coming down, he's clearly has the ability to bounce from 140 to 147. Bit short on the short side, but it clearly didn't affect his power and his skill set, right? Because he was able to beat a guy like Sammy Vasquez. He also holds a win over Adrian Granados, who in February, I went to that fight live, covered that fight, gave Broner a run for his money in a tough fight. Diaz, aside from being an Olympic gold medalist, he's also fought Lamont Peterson. Some people thought he lost. Some people thought he won the fight. Nonetheless, he pushed Lamont Peterson, and that was Peterson's last fight at, well, it was technically at welterweight, but it was at 143. And now Peterson has moved up to 47. So, good fight date. May 20th, you got Tank Davis, who's fighting on Showtime against Liam Walsh. And then on the HBO side of things, that's going to be on Showtime, of course. And on the Showtime side of things, you have Terence Crawford, who's always fun to watch, at least to me, versus Felix Diaz. And on this card, you got Shakur Stevenson. So that's a ton of talent right there. And it's going to be on regular HBO. Now, initially, they were talking about making this card where Shakur Stevenson is from exactly, in Newark, New Jersey, at the Prudential Center or whatever the venue's called. But that fell through for whatever reason, and they decided the main building for the Garden is where this fight will take place. So still an East Coast fight, which is cool. It would have been nice to see Shakur Stevenson get a fight exactly in his hometown, but this is still within a close enough proximity that fans of Shakur Stevenson can take a train, can take a, carpool and go over to New York to watch their fighter and root for him without spending an arm and a leg. So that's good. Other thing I like is he just fought April 22nd. It was a good experience fight. He won a technical decision. There was a cut stoppage, I believe. I was at the Sean Porter fight covering that for Showtime, and I actually still haven't even watched it, but I just heard a summary of what happened. Heard he looked good, and the guy was kind of wild or whatever. Edgar Brito. So that was a good experience, and now he's already back fighting on another Top Rank card, which is, I don't know if his portion is going to be televised, but it's still, I like the activity. I really do. And Andre Ward, who's his manager, said this: "I have to admit I'm a little jealous. Shakur Stevenson has the opportunity to fight at the Garden in his second fight, whereas I've fought over 30 times and have yet to fight on that sacred ground." And that's from Andre Ward. Actually, I guess that's the way it's supposed to be. The next generation going further than the older generation. I'm super excited for him. He shines the brightest on the biggest stage. There are not too many bigger stages than the Garden in boxing and really all of sports. So we all know the mecca of boxing. One of them is Madison Square Garden. Who wouldn't want to fight there? Crawford had this to say: my first fight there was exciting, being that it was Madison Square Garden, but it was in the theater, which is a smaller section of the Garden, right? Like Errol Spence Jr., he fought Leonard Bundu. He fought him at like a smaller section of the Barclays, I believe, but not the big room is what they call it. And Crawford says, I didn't get to fight in the big room in my first fight like Shakur. I'm excited to fight in the big room, being that there hasn't been a top-ranked show there since Miguel Cotto. I'm glad Shakur will be on the card with me. Shakur Stevenson, he also worked with this man who has a fight the same night, so it's good to see these young talents working. Again, Tank Davis will fight Liam Walsh in the UK. IBF first title defense, it's his mandatory, and that's the same night as Shakur Stevenson. So I like to see these young brothers stay active and keep working. Now, Shakur Stevenson did admit to the Boxing Voice. Shout out to Ness. Shout out to my dudes at the Boxing Voice. The interview is in the link. But Shakur Stevenson says he's going to go on record and say that Terence Crawford beat his ass because they've sparred. Even if that's the case, which I don't doubt, Terence Crawford is a hell of a fighter, ambidextrous, tricky, can stand his ground, can move, can box and move, switch angles and switch stances. But he said it himself that Terence Crawford got the best of it in sparring. But that's not a problem because this is experience. And at the end of the day, Crawford is further along in his pro career and has great experience to even share the ring. You know what I mean? Because if you're a lesser fighter, Terence Crawford will probably stop you in sparring. You know what I mean? So at age 19, that's not bad. And Shakur Stevenson said this: I'm training out in Colorado with Terence Crawford, and I'm happy I get to fight on this card in such a historic arena. I'm going to make sure everyone comes out and supports us both. Feels good to have my first pro fight under my belt, which he had April 22nd. My pro debut was great. I had 2 Olympic gold medalists walk me out, and my hero Andre Ward ringside yelling instructions to me. My opponent was tough and tried to make it dirty. I learned a lot, and I'm going to put that knowledge to good use on May 20th in my first East Coast professional fight. Again, that's from Shakur Stevenson. And I like all of this. I like all of what I'm hearing. And this is what needs to happen as far as, so shout out to Top Rank. You got a top talent, keep him active. There's no reason why he shouldn't be fighting actively, right? He just fought. Get him right back in there. Keep him fresh, keep him motivated, and keep him away from the distractions that a lot of young fighters go through. The guys like Adrian Broner, I talked to Andre Berto and interviewed him before, and he said, like, you know what I mean, making millions. Obviously, Shakur Stevenson hasn't reached that yet, but making a lot of money and, you know what I mean, just being around crowds and parties and stuff. Sometimes you don't train as hard, or you neglect what got you there, you know what I mean? So I like this. Keep the distractions to a minimum. You see Andre Ward has a big fight coming up in June against Sergey Kovalev in a rematch. You see Bob Arum. Keep this kid active and keep him learning. That's how you do, especially when you first turn pro. You got to learn on the job. Fight guys like this who, in Shakur Stevenson's words, say he tried to make it dirty, right? And find a way to win. And then fight against another guy who I'm sure Shakur Stevenson respects, and Terence Crawford, another skilled fighter. And that's what is supposed to be happening. And he's getting an East Coast fight. I love it. You see his caption, Chapter 1 begins. That was for Armani, love you, bro. # Newark made. So he seems like he's energized and happy to get that first one out. I'm sure a lot of pro fighters. I talked to Marlene Esparza, who's also an Olympian. She has a bronze medal. And I asked her, I said, straight up, were you nervous for your first pro fight? She fights on the Canelo Chavez Jr. undercard this weekend, so make sure you guys check that out. And she said, yeah, I was. She was like, I normally don't get really nervous, but I was. And I'm sure that happened. So for Shakur Stevenson, this is good. He already got the pro fight out of the way. Now on to the next one and keep him active. You see Clarissa Shields in the background, 2-time Olympic gold medalist. You see another gold medalist. He has the right supporting cast around him. Andre Ward's a hell of a fighter, hell of a mentor. Jay Prince, he's going to make sure things go the way they're supposed to be going. And Shakur Stevenson, it's all within him to make the most of his pro career and these opportunities that he's created for himself by being a talented fighter and making this his profession. But I said in my article, Top Rank does a great job of molding fighters, especially their young fighters, coupled with the powerhouse team of Andre Ward and Jay Prince to help manage and oversee his career. I think that's an all-star team. And one last thing I want to touch on. I said Stevenson seems to have bounced back mentally very well after coming up short in the gold medal match in the 2016 Rio Olympics, and is on the fast track to success with his activity as a pro. Roy Jones Jr. and Floyd Mayweather Jr. showed the mental fortitude to bounce back as dominant pros. Although Jones Jr. and Mayweather Jr. were robbed of rightful wins and a chance at Olympic gold, Stevenson lost a competitive match against the Cuban Robisi Ramirez. I still think Stevenson has it up top where he can bounce back and have a great career if he stays focused. Let me know what you guys think. He will fight on the same card as Terence Crawford. Definitely want to watch and support that fight and give it exposure. Two talented guys, two skilled guys who seem down to fight whoever. Make sure you guys tune in May 20th. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you share the video. Like the video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off.